with Falk after church. Falk does not do cocaine after church. Are you friends with Falk? No, he's a pervert. And you wouldn't know. Liar.
Well, blood and honey was a thing, and, so is this. Back in 1985, a drug-running endeavor that went completely wrong led to a black bear ingesting a heavy amount of cocaine. It died less than an hour later and is now displayed at a mall in Kentucky. And that was Cocaine Bear, and... hang on. What? But it said true story, oh, okay, got it. The movie, released last February, and the second bear-themed movie to come out that month, sees a drug-running endeavor that went completely wrong lead to a black bear ingesting a heavy amount of cocaine. It then goes on a rampage, killing everybody it encounters, is kinda portrayed as good by the end because baby bears are cute, and the whole thing makes no fucking sense, but in reality, who in the hell thought it would? It does have Ray Liotta in his final role, and did receive decent reviews, which are about what you'd expect. Is it overrated? Underrated? Probably neither, but it's definitely something, so let's analyze the 3% non-fiction Cocaine Bear. We open in 1985, getting in some accuracy, and we see drug smuggler Andrew C. Thornton, played by Matthew Rice, who seems to really enjoy his job. That's kind of true. In real life, his parachute got tangled, but hey, it was pretty funny. Bullshit. After letting us know that black bears don't normally kill you, we see a happy young couple. Olaf, played by Christopher Hiju, and Elsa, played by Hannah Hokestra.
Sweetie, can I just say one last thing? Then I swear, no more wedding talk.
Of course.
No, they're getting married. This can only end well. They do argue about Olaf's brother Eric singing at the wedding, which is completely pointless as they spot the Cocaine Bear. But given they don't know it's the Cocaine Bear, assuming it's just a harmless black bear, they figure, let's film it, it'll be fine. However, they soon realize it's not fine, and they do the one thing you never do in this situation. Running away. Also, don't do that. That being laying on the ground. It's the worst place to be, and it puts your neck in a very convenient biting position. But it attacks Elsa instead, and if he could just pull her out of the bush, it would surely give up. You see, that's a good thing. Now the parents know that this movie that looks kind of comedic is not kid-friendly. Also, I do want to mention that the bear looks pretty damn good despite being made entirely out of CGI. Olaf escapes, and a news report shows us that the owner of the driveway the body landed on has the proper last name being Myers. And that being said, the need to point out accuracies is done as there aren't any left. From this point on, the movie is fiction. The body is identified by Detective Bob, played by Isiah Whitlock Jr., and Officer Reba, played by Eliola Smart. He explains that Thornton was one of Sid White's men, a known drug trafficker, and that there is definitely more cocaine out there. And he has a dog. That will affect one thing, so I have to mention it, but yeah. We then see Sid White, played by Ray Liotta, who is none too pleased about the lost cocaine, and tells his fixer Davey, played by O'Shea Jackson Jr., to collect his son Eddie, played by Alden Ehrenreich, and find the remaining cocaine. The problem is, Eddie is kind of depressed about his dead wife, thus being the reason Sid is stuck watching his son.
We're back, Sid, watch!
Yeah, that's great.
That is so accurate, it's fucking hilarious. I don't know, I just love that bit. However, we have more important characters to get to, like Sari, played by Keri Russell, and her daughter Dee Dee, played by Brooklynn Prince.
Thought you were off tonight.
We talked about this, remember me picking up some extra shifts? You said you were okay with it.
Oh, no, not this shit. Please do something funny instead.
I was okay with it until I realized why you were on those extra shifts so you could go into overtime with Ray the pediatrician.
Gross, Dee Dee. Gross.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Switch it around. Divert expectations. And despite this, she still wants to do what they originally planned, being painting a picture of the waterfalls in the forest, so she skips school with her friend Henry, played by Christian Convery. Sari almost immediately learns of this, given that Henry accidentally left his backpack, but more importantly, the two find some of the cocaine. Henry insists that he's done cocaine before, and even though Dee Dee doesn't believe him, she decides to listen to him anyway.
Okay, so
How do I do it? You eat it.
I'm actually more concerned about this.
how much?
Like a tablespoon's worth.
That has consequences. Don't do that. And this goes badly, but they do find more cocaine that's been opened, meaning...
Listen to me.
We cut away at the worst possible time, and no, it's not going to pay off. But that's not important right now, as we have more characters. Ranger Liz, played by Margo Martindale, and Peter, played by Jesse Tyler Ferguson.
Well, she came here on her own, heading to the waterfall.
Yeah, hikers under 16 must be accompanied by an adult.
They tell Sari she can tag along with their wildlife endeavors, and upon leaving, David and Eddie show up, the reason being...
I'm gonna go in here and take a piss, alright?
Then go in the woods. I mean, you got the whole fucking forest. Well, then he couldn't encounter the Duchamps gang, 3 delinquents who terrorize the forest goers.
They hurt anyone?
They cut them with a knife.
They intend on robbing David, but they're no match for him, and even their fighting skateboard gets used against them. The magical teleporting knife does do some damage, but not as much as cutting away for something we don't need to see now. That being the second time we've interrupted this scene for exposition we don't need to see now. I mean, what was the first cut about? These 3 are bad? Yeah, that needed explaining.
Please tell me you found them like this?
Luckily, the comedy remains intact.
They're kids.
Most kids aren't in their late 20s. One of them has cocaine on them, so he wakes up Kid, played by Aaron Holiday, who tells him they found the cocaine at the gazebo. They head out to find the rest of it, surprisingly without a jump cut, and the other 3 locate Henry hiding in a tree. He explains that the bear took Dee Dee, realistically meaning she's likely dead, and the bear uses his power of invisibility to attack Liz and Peter, biting her in the ass and chasing Peter into the adjacent tree.
But you're safe. Bears can't climb trees.
Of course I can!
Then why are you up here?
Liz takes off to get help, and the bear is clearly too high to sense somebody standing behind the tree, so it pursues Henry instead. But luckily for him, main characters outlive comic relief, and Peter is covered in cocaine. So he's killed in an incredibly violent, graphic manner that's also quite comedic. This allows Sari and Henry to escape, and you'd think, given Henry is just a kid, she'd consider sending him back home to his parents and not bringing him with her, but I guess they wouldn't mind. Meanwhile, Liz makes it back, and we have what may be one of the funniest scenes in the movie, in which the remaining 2 Duchamps don't realize she's talking about the bear, and think she was attacked by David.
Wait, you're gonna shoot him?
The hell yes, I'm gonna shoot him. He took a bite out of my ass.
What the fuck is wrong with this guy?
That's fucking hilarious. This movie didn't have to be as funny as it is, but damn it, it has its comedic moments. She then accidentally shoots Ponytail, played by Liotta, and Vest, played by J.B. Moore, is equally as stupid. We cut away again for nonsense, and an ambulance shows up, giving us yet again more characters. Beth, played by Kathleen Kim, and Tom, played by Scott Seiss. They find Liz still alive, and the bear has done some interesting things with Vest's body. This means they must escape, resulting in a climactic chase scene, but nobody has enough sense to shut the fucking door, so... And that's why ambulance drivers should always wear seatbelts. No, really, they don't usually wear seatbelts. Apparently, it impairs their jobs. Screw your seatbelts, man. I don't have time for that. My priority is safety. But there is time to like the video and subscribe if you enjoy. Meanwhile, Detective Bob, who's also been in the case, comes across the same gazebo and sees a bag of cocaine. We then cut away, of course, to show us a mystery guy with a rifle, and then back to the gazebo with the other three.
Where's the... Put the gun down and move away from the teenager.
You see, with the power of clever jump cuts, we now have this situation. Yeah, it's not good, but this line makes up for it.
I'm just trying to find a safe spot to hop down.
How did you get up there?
Well, I jumped from that tree over there, but I hurt my hip a little.
So again, the fact that he's afraid to jump down and is legitimately stuck up there is hilarious, but this time I feel the scene goes on for a bit too long. Stuff does happen. Bob manages to shoot off 2 of Devi's fingers that aren't even next to each other, but it doesn't really affect anything. He still manages to get the gun, and of course another jump cut. The bear does eventually show up, but none of what happens is particularly funny, so we cut away yet again, in which Sari and Henry come across the guy from the intro, who's still out there, I guess, and he's gonna help them find Edie. Not exactly irrelevant, but still not the right time to cut to that. Meanwhile, the bear is passed out on top of Eddie, and this line is said.
The bear is a girl.
Oh, how do you know that?
Because its vagina is on my ear.
You know, I spent several minutes trying to think of a line to follow that up with, but I got nothing. It wakes up, consumes Devi's cocaine, for some reason doesn't immediately kill Eddie, and I just realized Eddie must be a big fan of denim. Bob distracts it with more cocaine, and Kid kind of just leaves. Devi still wants the bag, but it's Sid, who shot Bob in the gut, attracting the bear's attention and causing him to drop the cocaine. Then the movie tries to make Sid sympathetic by telling us if he doesn't get all the cocaine back, which is now impossible, it'll mean bad things for him and his family. Now the problem is, this doesn't relate to what will happen later, and we'll get to that, but for now, do you remember Officer Reba?
What are you doing?
I'm sorry, Bob.
I'm sorry, Bob.
Yep, the officer who's been in 2 scenes and done nothing of relevance is all of a sudden bad. And it's never explained. I know you can't expect the best writing from a movie titled Cocaine Bear, but this is the definition of a badly written plot device. The only reason for this is so she can incidentally bring up Bob's dog, so Sid can threaten to kill it if he doesn't tell him where the bear went. Given that Bob dies directly after, I don't think Sid would make an effort to kill that dog. And then, after a weird scene when they find the cave and then cut back to show them finding Olaf's dead body, who was incidentally killed off screen, Reba just leaves because...
You got what you wanted? Let's go.
There's a lot more out there.
We gotta keep looking, understand?
he still wants to find more cocaine. So I guess assisting somebody who killed a police detective is okay, but wanting to find more cocaine after finding one bag, that's a step too far.
Terribly ingenious, highly imaginative, incredibly inventive.
Like I said, a literal plot device. But then again, this is Cocaine Bear, so you can't really complain too much. Meanwhile, Sari and Henry find Dee Dee, who has for whatever reason not been chewed up, and look, baby cocaine bears. You know what that means? The bear, who's been mutilating people, mostly innocent, is the good guy, and Sid, who in this case just wants his family not to die, is the bad guy. Doesn't really make sense, but look how cute the baby cocaine bears are. So we get our climax, nicely placed behind the waterfall, possibly the ones she wanted to paint, and we have a good old-fashioned standoff. 'Cause if you can only get the bag of cocaine hanging above them, everything will be fine.
They're gonna come after me, my family, if I don't get them every penny's worth.
Well, I guess 2 out of several ain't bad. So Sid, who is evil, tells the family they can't leave, so the friendly bear cubs attack, and David and Eddie have had enough of him.
Kids have been dragged into this.
Get out of here, you fuckers!
People are dead.
And many more will be if those 2 cocaine-addicted bear cubs get big. They escape, David gets incidentally shot, but he's fine. And even though the bear may have been shot too, a final dose of cocaine brings him back to life. This means the evil Sid will get his comeuppance, the happy bear family will surely go about their own business, and even though all the cocaine is lost, their families will probably be fine. So, happy ending. Everybody you're supposed to like is not dead. Reba faces no consequences. And this mid-credit scene is, again, real damn funny. So that was Cocaine Bear, and it may not be true, but you definitely can't say it doesn't deliver. Nothing too complex here. This film gives you exactly what it promises, and you can't really complain about the end result. That being said, the problems the movie does have, mainly being the abysmal editing, seem like it could have been done a lot better. A lot of the cuts just don't make sense, and the idea of clever transitions are completely absent here. It's not something that's needed for a film like this. In some cases it could be catastrophic, but still they could have at least made an attempt, because honestly I don't think they did. Aside from that, there are some characters that just don't make sense, some scenes that outstay their welcome, and the pacing does leave a bit to be desired. Still, for a movie about a cocaine-fueled bear rampage, I think those flaws can be overlooked, as the thing we came to see is done to a satisfying extent. Unlike the imitation films Cocaine Shark and Meth Gator, which I haven't seen but I can speculate, the CGI bear actually looks real good, delivering some memorable fun scenes. I do really dislike how it's portrayed as the hero by the end, because these deaths are pretty graphic, but still, it's a damn good time, and the comedy for a movie expected to be somewhat comedic is done quite well. If you took a movie with a completely different premise that had the same flaws, it would be a bit more problematic. But it's not, it's Cocaine Bear, so if we get to see that along with the carnage and mayhem that ensues, then that's good enough. Yeah, a couple of scenes do get in the way a bit, it definitely could have been a lot better, but in the end, I'd say it's appropriately rated. I'm the analyst, and remember kids, assisting in the death of a police detective is very serious. And even if you don't do the shooting, it definitely disqualifies you for the, quote-unquote, redemption arc. So, you've made it to the end. That's an impressive feat indeed. Since you managed that, I guess check out the gaming channel, in which I cover a variety of gaming topics, like analysis videos, such as this one. If you're into that, then press the link in the description. It's that simple.